Hey, how's it going? This is Mary and Matheka in the new boarding school from summer 2007 by Catherine Rosner and Olivia Wright, a Crow production. This is Chapter 3, How Mary and Matheka Met Their Boyfriends. After English was math. The math teacher's name was Mrs. Tamperbottom. She was pretty nice. So that went smoothly. Then it was time for break. They would all have another after lunch. Mary and Matheka decided to talk in a place where Mary-Kate and Ashley wouldn't bother them. Over on the other side of the room, however, two boys in the twins' class were discussing them. "Hey, Jack, do you have a liking of those two girls?" asked Jake. "Yeah, especially Matheka," said Jack. Jack and Jake were brothers and twins. Jake was older than Jack by 5 minutes, just like Mary of Matheka. "Don't you think we should talk to them?" suggested Jake. But Jack was shy. "Maybe," he said. But he gained courage and walked over. "Hello, Matheka." "Hello, Mary," said Jack simply. Mary and Matheka also said hello shyly. "How are you doing?" he asked again. Matheka spoke up. "We're doing fine." "How is school?" asked Jack without much thought. Matheka spoke. "Well, there are some pretty strange teachers there." "Yeah, it's always been like that," answered Jack. He and Jake had been there since 7th grade. "So, what did you want to say?" asked Mary. Bye!" cried Jack and ran away. Then Jake came up. "Sorry about my brother. He's kinda shy," he said. "We see," answered Matheka cordially. "My name is Jake, and my brother's name is Jack," said Jake. "Nice to meet you," the girls said in unison. Then Jack came back. "Sorry for my outburst," apologized Jack. "That's okay," forgave Matheka, beginning to have a special interest in him. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm Tiddle-dee-dee. That's Egyptian for I'm okay," answered Jack. "You like to speak Egyptian?" Matheka asked excitedly. "I love speaking it," said Jack, more relaxed now. Then they began speaking about Egypt in Egyptian. Next to them, Mary and Jake were having their own conversation. "How are you doing?" asked Mary. Jake answered, but he answered in French. "You like French? I love French!" cried Mary excitedly. "So do I," said Jake. Then they began talking about French. They both took French in language. But in the midst of it all, two pairs of beady little eyes were spying on them. "I can't believe those girls are flirting with our boyfriends," said Mary-Kate. But of course they weren't. They just liked to lie. "I know," agreed Ashley. Meanwhile, Jake suddenly said, "I have a feeling we're being spied on by two beady little eyes. I wonder who it is." Then the 4 high school students said in unison, "Mary-Kate and Ashley." Mary-Kate and Ashley walked up. "Why are you flirting with our boyfriends?" asked Mary-Kate snobbishly. But before Mary or Matheka could answer, Jack cried out in indignation, "We're not your boyfriends." "Oh, yes, you are," said Mary-Kate. "Oh, no, we aren't," said Jack. "Oh, yes, you are." "Oh, no, we aren't." Are not." "We would never be your boyfriends," said Jake indignantly. "Oh, yes, you would," sneered Ashley. "Oh, no, we wouldn't," cried Jake. "Oh, yes, you would." "Oh, no, we wouldn't. Wouldn't." Ashley, who actually liked Jack, pushed Jack aside and moved toward Matheka and said slyly, "Move aside. I can handle the rest." Jack immediately pushed Ashley away from Matheka, who, by the way, was quite bewildered, and so was Mary, and said loud and clear, "Get away from my new girlfriend." Everyone gasped, and Matheka, who was almost disliked by all boys, fainted in trauma. At once, Mary and Jake kneeled down beside her and carried her to the nurse's office, leaving a very, very, very embarrassed Jack alone with Ashley. Mary-Kate knew Ashley wanted her triumphal moments by herself, so she left and went to the sushi bar across the room. They had break in the cafeteria first, and then outside. "So, you say your girlfriend is Matheka of all people?" Ashley scorned. "Matheka is such a carpetbagger Yankee," she taunted. "She's so ugly, and she is such a snob." "She is not," cried Jack, still red in the face. "She is so weird, and she is such a bummer in school." "No, she isn't." "Yes, she is. She's such a carpetbagger Yankee." "Stop saying mean things about Matheka." "Ugh, don't say her name again. It's so weird." "Don't you think it's so stupid?" Ashley drawled snottily. "No, and Matheka is not all that," said Jack angrily. Suddenly, Ashley kissed him on the cheek. It was so awful for Jack that he fainted. Ashley, seeing what she did, skipped away happily to tell Mary-Kate that he kissed her. What liars! A little later, Jake came back down the hallway and saw Jack at his feet, still unconscious. He immediately picked his brother up and dragged him into the nurse's office also. Just then, Mary was bent over her faint sister, calling to her softly. "Matheka, are you awake? Matheka? Matheka, are you awake? Oh, please wake up, Matheka," she said urgently. Matheka woke up sleepily. "What? Where am I?" she said drowsily. "You're in the nurse's office," said Mary. "What made you faint? Do you remember?" "Yes, I do. Jack and Ashley were fighting. No, it was Jake and Ashley. And then Ashley said, she said that she could handle the rest and came toward me as if she would hurt me," said Matheka. "And then he pushed her away and said, he said that I was his new girlfriend," she said slowly. Mary gasped. Matheka continued, "But do you think he might be lying?" "I don't know," said Mary, troubled. "Could you go ask him?" her sister asked. "Sure. Oh, I almost forgot. Well, you will be staying in bed for a few hours, so you can have some rest," said Mary. "Oh, okay," said Matheka a little sleepily. "Now you get your rest. I'll come back in a few minutes," replied Mary, and walked into the other room. There were 3 rooms. The front, the one for boys in emergency, and the back for girls in emergency. Mary did not know that Jack had fainted, so she was surprised when she saw him in a portable bed. "Jack!" she cried. Jake came up. "He fainted, I don't know how. When I came back from the nurse's office, I saw him lying at my feet," he explained. "Oh dear!" exclaimed Mary. She went up to him. He was staring at the ceiling. "Jack, I have something to ask you," she said. "Not now. Please leave me alone. I'm in a troubled state," said Jack feebly. "Okay," said Mary slowly. Then she went back to Matheka. "Matheka, are you awake?" she asked. "Yes, I am," her sister replied lazily. "What did he say?" "He said he was in a troubled state, and that he didn't want to be talked to for a little while," answered Mary. "Oh my," said Matheka disappointedly. But Mary suddenly had a sense of suspicion. "But Matheka, I noticed something on Jack's cheek. It was a smooch, and it looked like Ashley's lipstick," exclaimed Mary, surprising Matheka. Matheka gasped. "No!" "Yes, I saw it right in view," cried Mary enthusiastically. Matheka thought something and gasped and cried in alarm. "Do you think—" Mary understood and gasped. Maybe. But it must be true that Ashley kissed him because her lipstick was on him, reasoned out Mary excitedly. Maybe he wasn't lying then, because after all, he did say he was in a troubled state, said Matheka, relieved. Her sister agreed, but knowing it would be best to be wholly sure, Mary said after a pause, I think I'll go double-check and ask him why, just in case. She skipped out of the room, leaving Matheka to wait excitedly. Fortunately, Jack was ready for questions now, but he was still quite overwhelmed, and was strangely beginning to feel a little sick. Jack, did you like it when Ashley kissed you? Mary asked inquisitively, hardly able to wait for the answer. Jack looked at Mary straight in the face with a humongous amount of indignation and fury at the thought of it. Pah! Like her? That's the worst idea I've ever heard. I'd never like her a smidgen. I love Matheka with all my heart, he said out of fury. But then he blushed when he realized he said he loved Matheka. You do? Said Mary with a wave of relief. Why, yes, I do, said Jack, looking down. You have a smooch of Ashley's lipstick on you, noted Mary. Jack shuddered. Don't remind me, he said almost in fear. Oh, sorry, apologized Mary. She was about to go to Matheka when Jack called her. Oh, Mary? He asked. Yes? Required Mary. Can you wipe off the kiss? He asked. He said shyly. Of course, answered Mary. She got a damp washcloth and wiped it off well. Jack sighed in relief. Oh, thank you so much, he said gratefully. You're welcome, answered Mary. Jack then cuddled up in his bed and went off to dreamland in peace at last. And Mary went off to Matheka land. Matheka was sitting up in bed patiently. What did he say? She asked hopefully. He said that he hates MKNA and he loves you, said Mary happily. What is he doing now? Matheka wondered. Oh, he's sleeping like a baby, said Mary. Then they giggled. It was funny to think of Jack, a 15-year-old boy, cuddled up on a portable bed, sleeping like a baby. Oh, the nurse said that I will be able to come back to school after lunch, informed Matheka. Oh, I'm so happy. I would be lonely without you, said Mary. But then she remembered something she heard Jake say. Jack has a high fever, by the way. He won't be able to come back to school after a few weeks, Mary said. I'll see you soon, she continued. See you soon also, said Matheka. Then Matheka went to Dreamland, and Mary went to Cafeteria Land. When she was in the front room, Jake called to her. Jack said that he wanted to say something to you, Jake said to Mary. What is it? She asked. He said that he heard Matheka was disliked because of her name. He said he understood because of that, explained Jake. Oh, but why are you still here? Asked Mary. Oh, well, I just have to stay with him. We can't be parted, said Jake sentimentally. I see, understood Mary. Bye, bye, said the two students. Mary went outside where the cafeteria was, but a nurse came to Mary's side. Matheka has a thought for you, Mary. She would like to see you, she said. Mary went back. I'm sorry to waste your time, Mary, apologized Matheka. That's okay, answered Mary. I just had a thought. I wonder what MK&A do if they spoil everything else, Matheka said. Mary considered. Maybe they just gobble up everyone's food, said Mary. But she didn't know how true that was. Then she left Matheka to her thoughts and went to have a meatball sandwich. Oh, but wasn't it such a pity that Mary-Kate and Ashley spoiled everything, even the beginning of M&M and J&J's relationship? But it would get worse once they knew of their great blind downfall.